Hey, and we are live.
Let's go.
Yeah. We've got some nice music. We found this nice playlist. We'll have to try to do something like this next time. But in this stream, we are mixing some tracks we started on previous streams if you've been tuning in for the past few weeks. But we've got the Travis Scott track, which Sam finished. I've never heard it yet. And I finished my Disclosure track and sent it to Sam. So he's heard it, but he's just grabbing it right now, and he's going to open it up in Ableton shortly. But yeah, tell us where you're tuning in from. We have 21 people in the chat. That's amazing to see. It's great to have everyone here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And we're going to get straight to some mixing tips in this one quite shortly. You have anything to add on your end there?
Not so much. I remember like you saying, let's do a mixing live. And I was like, I don't know, because during my process, basically, it's not a sequence process. Like, it's more I'm mixing while I'm doing the track. So if I show you how to mix a beat, which is usually not the finished product as well, then, I will have to stop myself to mix while I'm producing, to show you what I'm doing. But at the same time, I push the track as much as I can there, but I think there is still some, final touch to do. So yeah, we're gonna do that today, and then hopefully you guys will learn from it.
Yeah, there's definitely a split between using creative effects to get the sound that you want, and then mixing so all the sounds complement each other. And that line blurs depending on the producer or the genre usually. Like if you're in the studio recording live, you get all the tracks first, then you mix it together. You don't really level stuff as you're going because you don't really have the time. But like if you're producing and you have the sounds right at your fingertips, sometimes you just level it out because you're feeling a certain way, and like that leveling decision ends up making it to your final mix. So yeah, it's definitely a blurred line. But today what we want to show you is how to get that track from, where you have it to finally just finishing it and making it release ready, I guess is what you would say. Is that a term?
Yeah. I
release
think
ready.
I think it's a nice term, and of course we will need the A of our AI LANDR mastering for sure to master it. But yeah, we will try to. I think I will start to explain what I did in between those live. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, so we'll be using tons of plugins from LANDR Studio, and then tons of plugins that Sam has at his disposal on his computer, and then as well as LANDR Mastering Plugin. But yeah, as we're going, we'll be explaining what we're thinking about, and then feel free if you have any questions about mixing, any questions about plugins, let us know in the chat. The more messages we get, the better the stream does. I'm pretty sure that's how they rate it, right? So like.
Yeah. So let's be active. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Ask question. Also, it's not just question. You can also say your mind. If like you feel the track is not good, just say it and explain why, and we could try to correct. We are to get feedback also as well. So
yeah, cool. Let's switch it up to the DAW screen here, and let's. Can you tell us what's happening in this one?
Okay, so this one, I think the last time we finished, we had like maybe 3 layers of drums. We got like a sample, so we start with this sample. I remember. I'm gonna make you listen here.
Yeah.
Let me know if you the listening going through properly as well. So yeah, we start with trying to do like a Travis Scott traps, and we feel this sample was a good fit, and we had drums, we got 808 on this, and some more instrument. And then what I did basically is trying to take a step back and trying to build a second, so I can just zoom out here, just so you don't know, keyboard shortcut H and W. W will reduce the width, and height will reduce the height. So that's a good keyboard shortcut here. So yeah, definitely add some drums. I think the snare was sounding a bit like I only had one snare the last time, so that's usually what I do. I can make you listen. So make you listen to the drum first.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Lucida, tuning in from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and hello G Day. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, that sounds great, Sam.
So yeah, so I think the last time we had one kick, I think it was this snare here. Oh, it was more this snare. Yeah, there we go. So we got this one, and I just layer it with another one to give a bit more. It's really subtle.
Yeah, don't be afraid to layer sounds, like, especially if they complement one another. It can really help with the punch of the snare.
So there we go. You see like there is a little flame here right now because potentially like they don't start at the same time. So again, this is also to me mixing. Is like sometimes you can EQ, compress a snare. Sometimes just what you need to do is layering different sound here to get it a bit more thick.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's it. And then, like one thing of all mixing is like you should rename your track. And I realized that I didn't do it.
What's that? Is that the counter snare? Oh, it's an open hat.
Yeah, open hat. Let's go.
Yeah.
Definitely something that is annoying to do, but you don't regret it after. What is that? I don't even know what is it.
Ooh.
Oh, it's a clap. So
like a
yeah,
deep clap. Yeah.
So usually, like what I do with that is like I doing every 2 snare, as you can see. So I'm gonna add it to a group, and I will explain why I will add it to a group after, because I'm going to treat it in the same way, all those snare. But
can we hear the whole beat, like on, like I guess where you have it so far?
Okay, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
Just like a little
For
bit.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Little intro here.
Nice. AJV tuning in from London. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Side? I'm going to say Side. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. Ooh. I love those drum fills, man.
Yeah, I love to do that, like taking some drum fills, EQ it, low pass, high pass, and then it tells you that something is coming. And then I will explain this breakdown after.
Hilton Friends from Cape Town, South Africa. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah.
So this is really Travis Scott.
Yeah, this already sounds really good. I don't.
Okay, so for this part here, so let's go maybe part by part here. So what I did is...
It's good.
Yeah, you like it?
Oh, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's heavy.
I don't like it, but
it's
okay.
It?
But it's okay.
You don't need to give Sam some love in the chat there. Like, I don't know. That's pretty, that's pretty heavy, man. It's
thanks,
really good.
Thanks. Yeah. But yeah, so basically, my arrangement here, quick word on the arrangement. You don't want the listener to be bored, right? So you need to change some stuff every 8 bar, I would say, or 16 bar. But basically start like not at the climax. If you start at the climax, at least in beats, you're not going to be you're going to be nowhere, like so just like what I did here is like I start with a sample and a little like just a feel of guitar. So the sample is mostly guitar, and with the sample, and then after I add other instruments. So I add the strings.
Ooh, that's nice.
A cello, actually. And on top of that, I had like a cube. So I also like discovered this synth, super cool, and it's available on LANDR Plugin, Cube Mini. Really cool stuff. Honestly, that's a nice instrument here. It's basically taking layering sample, and you get this. I can show it again.
And that's like just like your whole instrument group there. Like those are the kind of mid-range to high-end sounds that you have? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So in terms of grouping, I got drums in red, SFX in yellow, 808. I might rearrange the grouping at some point. All the sample there, the instrument here, and the Vox in purple. So yeah, just to go back to this, so I had the cello, I had, as I say, the guitar here, and then also cube.
Nice. Oh, that's nice.
So you can fill up the sample here. It's just not like a sample and a loop and playing. And
that cello sounds really nice. Where's that from?
I think it's a native instrument,
Okay.
Soundbang.
Nice. And then you froze it.
Yeah, I froze it because it's really AV CPU wise. So
Yeah.
I usually froze it. And if like right now I put a reverb and I put a tape on it. So see, I start mixing and I say, no, okay, I stop myself.
Well, no, that's not. I don't know. That's more creative effects, I think, because you're getting the sound that you want out of the instrument.
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
So it's not like leveling or like EQ decisions based on what's happening. Yeah.
Exactly. It's more creative mixing. But what I use, like huge like sample based orchestral sound, like. I want them to they are too clean to me. Like either I'm doing like a full like you do like a full soundtrack, and then it needs to be clear and sounding natural. But in hip hop, then it's gonna clash if it's sounding too natural.
Right.
So I usually put like a tape and this plugin so we can listen a bit. Just the cello right now. It's not a big difference.
Yeah, Sides tuning in from Nigeria. That's amazing. Cape Town, South Africa. I guess this is a good time for South Africa and Africa in general. This is great. What time is it there? Right now it's like 3 p.m. here, right? So it must be like nighttime.
It's great to watch live during nighttime.
Yeah.
Usually that's my time to watch live.
Maybe
So tape. Really solo, but you can make it like I make it input hot, so I can a bit tape saturation.
Right.
And some reverb here.
Nice, that's haunting. Yeah, the difference is crazy. Yeah.
Solo, but a bit more organic, I will say.
Yeah, both of these plugins here are in LANDR Studio, which is great.
Yeah.
And that cube is really cool. What sound did you have from there?
Cube. I froze it because it was actually CPU AV as well. Let me unfroze it. I use, I think, Android Noir presets.
Nice.
Let's listen to really Halloween vibe. And what is cool is this guy. Like you can.
Yeah,
it goes really change like, and then after you can play with like.
You can change the samples in each corner, and then it has like an automation thing.
Yeah,
on it. It's really neat for like sound design.
In this case, like I feel I was losing too much the instrument in the mix, so I remove it and put it more into like.
Yeah, I like the pluck of this sound. Like
so basically, if I can remember what is, there we go. So this plugin is kind of layering like 6 sound right now.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's pretty crazy, and you can really playing with these orbs, cube stuff. Yeah, and I mean, go watch the video. It's on our site. Like the full demo of this plugin is really great. So I use that for, elevate the sample in the second part of the verse, I will call that. And then I needed like a complete opposite of dynamic here. So no drums or really solo drums. I could have add drums, but I didn't have time. But basically what I start to do is really chop the sample and make it different. So we can listen to it right now.
Oh. That's so cool.
I chop it, I pitch shift it, I add an extra with delay. And then I realized and I also EQ it a lot. I remove all the low. Why? Because there is some pitch. So I play a chord progression, organ chord progression on top of that, and there is some note that were clashing because the chord progression is not the same. So I wanted to change the chord progression. So here with the organ. So right now the sample is it becomes the texture and not it's not the same
main,
melody,
yeah.
like, you know, the main melody.
That's a nice chord progression too, nice and long.
Yeah, it's kind of like church and victory chord progression. And then any question?
Yeah, that's Lincoln says always good time for music in Africa. Yeah, for sure. I believe it's 19 hours, so like 7 p.m. I'm currently in Austria, and they've done that silly thing with the clocks. Yeah, that's coming up for us.
Yeah,
November 5th, I think. What plugin is that? Side, let us know which one. I think you might be talking about the Cube plugin, but that's called Cube Mini, and it's we have it as a part of LANDR Studio. It's a synthesizer plugin that uses samples and modulates between points on the cube based on like an orb pattern. So you can change like the global envelope. I don't think you can change the samples on the mini version, but like if you upgrade to Pro you can. But it comes with like enough presets to kind of like use
there is a bunch.
so
there is a bunch.
And you can modify the sounds that are in each preset as well. And add effects as well. It's really like I think underrated, this one.
Yeah, I like synth where you can really like modify the sound of it, but drastically, like, you know. So yeah.
Lincoln says, can we talk about important EQ points for each instrument group? For example, where to bring up important areas in the mix for pianos or pads versus that of guitar, bass, and drums?
Yeah, that's a great question, and definitely that's what we're gonna aim to do today. So just finishing to explain quickly like what we have, and then after I will, but it's a tough one, and this track in particular, I think I produce fast, so there is a lot of frequency. Masking and stuff.
Yeah, and the section we're going through now is like the main sounds, the main instruments, and they're mostly in the mid range. And like Sam said, he took some low end off of some stuff already.
Yeah.
But I mean, cleaning up your low end with an EQ is a good move. You don't want to come at it too hard with the slope because you'll get some weird phase stuff happening. But like, just a nice, just clean up a little bit. You don't have to go nuts with that.
Yeah, so definitely, stay on the live, and we'll go through these phases in a minute. So the next one is the bass. That's
a sick
analog live, and then I think I did some automation on the brightness here, because I wanted to come in bright because this part was bright, and then going, since like I have a lot of element added here, then just taking a second. So see, this is actually answer to your question. You can start to mixing / sound designing, already thinking about the storytelling, like, So really here, there is other element that coming in that we cannot hear because it's solo here. So I just wanted the bass, the treble of the bass, going down a bit, because other instruments are gonna come here. So pad.
So sick.
What else? Another cube, I believe. Oh yeah, this one. So this is the pad and the cube.
Wow, that's a really great preset.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So this one is actually a fun.
It's like a choir kind of.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you want to sleep right now?
Oh man, I feel like I'm in heaven there.
Cool. What else there is? So organ. There is a little lead. Analog lab. No, that was just gonna solo it. That was the bass. Where's the lead? Did I did it somehow? Okay, I guess no. It was that. It's there.
Nice. Can you play that with the bass? Look at that. That's so cool. Nice. That's so musical, man.
Yeah, it's like
That's so great.
because I wanted to change, like, you know, some instrument going down, some instrument going up.
Right, right.
So yeah, and with the sample is doing something like that. So yeah, definitely needs mixing. This is you guys see.
Well, yeah, let's get more granular into it. So let's go through like each sound.
Okay.
And kind of break down how we would think about maybe balancing, and then where the energy of each sound should live.
Yeah. So first of all, what I like to do, and I didn't do, it's grouping. Grouping is the first thing that I think you should do, is like grouping your instruments, your melodic instrument with your drums. I group my SFX, I also, the big splash or the big riser or the beat, because I don't want to be, I want to treat them like separately as well.
Yeah.
Instrument and my vocal.
Yeah.
So, and also what I usually do is I actually take everything that is low end. Not every, I don't think it's my way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say it's only way to go, but I like to grouping all my low end elements into one group, because it's the thing that I always like, turn down and turn up depending of my mixing environment, like,
Right.
and I'm doing car listening, and I'm doing like, it low end, especially on headphone. You don't hear low end, you don't hear low frequency as much on headphone than, like,
Yeah,
in
it's
the
not
space.
as powerful.
So
yeah.
it's something that until the end of the process, I'm finding myself to tweak.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to have one group that, okay, the low end is too not focused enough, or the low end is too wide, or the low end is too loud. I can directly go and it will be applied on all the low end of my track.
Okay.
So usually what I do is I take the kick there, and then also that enable me to low pass other, like, really to give room to the low end. So my 808 here. Oh, not in the drum, in the kick. There we go. And I think my bass. So this is depending. Sometime, like,
Mm-hmm.
but let's do it. There we go. So here, I got, I call this low end.
Nice. Yeah, it's like low end is like one instrument, When you're mixing low end, you want it all to hit together, and you have like a lot of elements, and it needs to blend together, right?
Yeah. So what I can do already is, if I take an EQ from, boom. Okay. So first of all, my drum right now, there is no low end here. I don't want low end.
Yeah, because we removed the kick,
and
so we see there's
look
yeah.
how much there is low end here, and you can, like, you don't hear it, but it's on the snare, usually on the perks, like, you get low end information here, so you can like go in, you can go really wild also, and going to steep, low cut, and really going to 100. So this blending with the low end.
Yeah, let's listen to the difference. Yeah.
It's really subtle. You need to listen the low end more than the but it's gonna clean your mix, definitely. This, and you did the same on the instrument group if there is no bass there anymore. So yeah, the second thing here, I will say, that is controlling your low end. So I can put an EQ to see, in case I need it, and I will put a compressor. I like using we can try to use the curve. I was curious and say, okay, I'm gonna try that. So this is new, and usually don't do that.
Yeah, and it's different too. Like the layout's different than a usual compressor.
Yeah. So maybe let's try the preset. I honestly, when I don't know how to use a plugin, or I didn't use it enough to know all the trick, start with the preset and see, like, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So what are we listening for, you think, on this specifically?
More control, and again, it's super hard on headphone, and you need to listen the full track, but you need to the low end. It's what is going to eat first the limiter. It's
right.
You know, it's the harder thing to control at the limiter. So even if you use LANDR mastering, if you don't control your low end,
if it's blaring,
then your track is not gonna sound loud.
Yeah,
because there is a lot of energy in the low end, and then you know it's just gonna power. And if you put this on a car, usually that's my test, is like the subwoofer is gonna explode, and you know, so in trap definitely the EQ profile is more towards the low end. Definitely you don't want to remove the low end,
right,
but it's something that you need to control the dynamics. You need to blend the kick and the 808 working together. So let's see. Let's try.
Cool.
So let's just listen to the preset here quickly. It's louder. So always trying to gain match your low end. So I don't want like a slow, I want a slow attack here. Yeah, so fast, like if you go too fast, then you cut all your dynamic, all the information you actually want to preserve from your kick.
Right. Can we just listen just to the low ends and hear the before and after on that? And then, guys, if you have any questions on mixing low end, throw it in the chat there, and we're happy to answer any questions.
So here are the kick is so detached, like
you
know, from the 808, and here is more glued together.
Yeah, it sounds more like one instrument there.
So I like it, and what I like to do is you know, sometimes don't hesitate to play with the mix. It's called parallel compression, and so you can preserve a bit the attack of the kick.
Nice.
Again, if you listen to this live on iPhone or you know, you will not be able to hear the bass right now.
Right.
So yeah, that I think I like it. I'm not gonna go in detail because he's willing, you know, asking focus here, but I think he's doing more or less the job I wanted to do here.
There's a nice question here from Rema Linder. Do you always pan low end center? So yeah, usually, you know, low end tends to take up more of the center image of your track, and that's because, like, if you're playing it, like if you have low end in the sides and if you pan it, then it's gonna throw the balance off of the whole thing. Think of it as like a house's foundation, like right, you know, it's like the concrete in the ground. If you only have concrete on one side, thing's gonna topple over.
Yeah, I mean that's usually, but again, a rule is made to be broken. So you know, sometimes, but it's especially your 808 and kick. If you start to pan it, then it's gonna be disruptive. It's gonna but that doesn't mean that every low end. What you can do if you want to have a stereo, and I think like the bass is a good example here. So here you can use utilities, a plugin. I usually on my chain, but look at if I put mono here. So mono is gonna be straight center, okay? I'm losing everything. See if you like, you know, like I don't want to lose the stereo effect on this bass. So see, like there is no one answer here, but what you can do is you clicking on bass mono here, and you're only gonna make mono the low frequency of the bass.
Right.
So you keep the stereo, so all the high frequency, keep it wide, so you don't lose this effect. And then, I mean, I probably already use it somewhere. Just let me see. No, I don't use it there. Yeah, I use it on the pedal. I usually like to use for kick and 808. There is a ton of emulation out there, but I use the one from I believe NI, and I use the VC 160 here. I can try quickly. I like this one because I even like the compressor doesn't work that much, but is really adding like a punch to it a bit without and controlling. So here is too much for sure. There is two compressors, and I'm going to go. Gonna remove the gain. So you can compare after. And of course, before compressing, the most important of it, and actually I should start with that, is leveling. Leveling is 80% of your mixing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any question on the chat, maybe?
Yeah, nothing yet. Let us know if you have any questions on what Sam's doing. But yeah, leveling going into the compressor for sure, especially if it's on the bus, I think.
Yeah, and then what I can do is maybe a little ducking on the 808. Again, like the last time we showed, and like I put my attack at 15 milliseconds on the 808, so it doesn't clash. We can listen again.
I love doing that because you can always, if you listen really carefully, you can hear when it becomes one, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll be quiet.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I already like set up to, I would say 15 to 30 milliseconds max. After you're gonna start to hear. And then again, like if you want to be, you know, I already those two, but if you want to be heard on, you know, the 808 to be audible on small speaker, then you need to add harmonic to the 808. So that's what I did here. And here like is to add some sub-harmonic. I showed at the last stream, but and this time I was feeling that the 808 was enough. You know, it was round enough. Like
right.
You know, so I didn't need it. And then so you see that I add some mids. Probably I will need to add some treble just to be a bit more audible.
Yeah.
Okay. So after the drums here, so leveling, that's definitely one of the things here, but I think it's more or less well leveled right now.
Where did you get that fill?
Sample.
Nice.
LANDR sample. Yeah.
That's a sweet fill.
I guess.
What did you type in? Drum fill?
Drum fill. So yeah, so a couple of things to do here. Drum, I like to play with the 3D aspect, right? So you get the snare in the middle, but you have all those percussion that can be around that, like, you know. So I think panning is something that I usually like to play with. So here I get one thing like this that is barely audible, but he did a groove here.
That's a nice groove, man. That's nice.
I can pan it left a bit. Any question?
Yeah, side set. All these plugins are new to me yet. I mean, don't get overwhelmed with plugins. I mean, you can get away with just stock plugins.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The ones in LANDR Studio are great because you get so many of them, and then you have enough to play with for a year if you grab the yearly subscription. And they're all really premium kind of stuff. But like, yeah, don't get too overwhelmed. It's just you have to kind of like learn one thing at a time. And I think the main thing I learned from Sam in the last month, I guess, is using that pedal plugin for bass to get harmonics is really nice. And then the utility plugin, also stock, to get the bass mono.
So you might need to learn something else today.
Okay.
Something new.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you ever try the drum bus plugin on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, let's chuck the drum bus on the drum bus.
That's a good thing. You can find that in Drive, I believe, and no Dynamic maybe.
Yeah, drum bus.
Do you see?
Drum.
Okay.
Isn't it in Drive? I think drum.
Yeah, drum bus is there. So yes, the day they released this plugin, I was like, wow. I not always use full wet, but it's basically there is a couple of stuff you can add drive. So when you add drive to your drum, you're basically adding harmonic, and so you can really like like thick your drum instead to be a small spike. It's going to be like more thick. You have different type of drive here, medium, hard, and you have like a compression when it's over compressed. Crunch, I don't know everything. By the way, in Ableton, if you don't know the parameter here, this add extra distortion to the mid-high frequency.
Cool.
Then the overall signal after processing, and transient. I love this. This is a transient shaper. How much emphasis you want put on transient or not. And this is for the low end here.
Yeah.
So you can add some boom, and actually you can capture the frequency of the low end is going to automatically put the right, EQ curve, depending of what you're listening to. So
there's a James asked, question for both of you lads, in 5 words or less, how would you describe your mixing style? In 5 words or less, how would you describe your mixing style?
Do you want to start?
Mine's in progress.
You have 3 words left.
Yeah. Well, it's 5 words or less, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm done.
Okay. Man, I need to be in progress also as well. That will
I
be
think
my 2.
I have a good one for you. On the go.
Yeah.
Sam's
the go.
on.
Yeah. In progress on the go.
Yeah.
Or on the go in progress. I will maybe add like, I know I already used my 5 word, but I will add like simple.
Simple?
I don't like. I mean, maybe when you see that, but I don't know. I feel most of my mixing is sound designing more than anything else. Like,
You're just shaping and shaping and shaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when I first started, like, really trying to get a good sound, I was watching tutorials and watching people work, and then, like, I had a bunch of plugins, and then I would chuck everything on every track. Like, every track had an EQ and a compressor, even if it didn't need it, right?
Yeah.
And I would just mess around, and then I would finish, and then I would listen to it in the car, like, and then I'd be like, why isn't this sound good?
Yeah.
It's because I wasn't really mixing. I was just screwing around.
Yeah, exactly start like this also at the beginning. Say, okay, so I need an EQ, a compressor on every track, and then you EQ, you doing resonancy on the, on everything. Then like, as you can see, I might need to do some resonancy, cut on some melodic ear, but that's it. Like just and also another 2 word, just trust your ear. And A/B tests all the time. Like when you add a plugin, turn off, turn on to see is it what you wanted to add or not.
Is it doing a good thing? Yeah. Is it doing what you thought it would?
Yeah.
Or what you were hearing at that time. So Seed says, yeah, you can use 808s and normal sub bass together in a mix, and it won't be too much. And how do you use distortion on your low end? Yeah, be careful with using 808s and normal sub bass together. Unless you have like 808s and maybe like a mid bass that's not taking, because in those sub frequencies from like 40 hertz to 80 hertz, you really only want one sound there, because then you start to get into masking. And the reason why that is, from what I can understand, is that the sound wave's moving so slow in the low end, because when you hit a guitar string, the low strings move very slow, and if you have another sound moving that slow against that original sound, they cancel each other out, and it's less in the upper registers, because those are moving so fast. There's lots of room for more sounds up there, but when you get really low, you only really have room for one sound.
Yeah, and again, like if you find something in your 808 and you like the character of the 808, and you want to still use a sub complementary, just carve out the low end of your 808, like remove the low end of your 808 and give the space. And I remember one of the teacher of mine tell me, like, a mixing is kind of like the soccer picture when they take so in order to see everyone in the picture, you need somebody say, okay, the goal is gonna be there, and the captain is gonna be there, and you need to picture your mix like this. If the captain and the attacker, like all the player are the same spot, you're gonna see nobody, like so see this as like a family picture as well, like like you need somebody to say, hey, put your ear, put and then you need to picture your mix in your head, like and I think it was a good analogy.
I think it is, because like that's what arrangement is. You're arranging the people in the picture, you're putting them in the right spots, and then getting the focus of the camera, and then doing color correction is really like the the end game of mixing. Color correction being kind of like mastering, because you only have one source to work with, right?
Cool. So
sound is way too quiet, guys. Oh, sorry, Joe.
Okay.
I think I don't know. I don't want to clip the. We just have to stay closer to the mics, I think. But yeah, go ahead with.
Yeah, is the sound of the mic or the sound of the DAW? Maybe like
yeah.
so. Okay. Cool. Whoa. Okay, so
that's that drive.
That's
the drum bus. Yeah.
So yeah, just. Okay, coming down. So here is like on and off. So if you have the crunch, you use like high end. So I usually don't that. You can damp it, so cut some ice. And then you can add transients, remove transients. So basically what I need here is more, I think like this in the mix, if I listen well again. I mean, you can hear the snare, but you don't hear the percussion. So this will help definitely bringing low level drum elements into the same level.
Right.
And then usually what I do is go back. So again, like percussion, I think that could be a bit. Again, I can play with panning here. And then what I like to do is, do I have an auto pan here? No. So you can go crazy with the auto panning here, but what I want to do, usually what I do is on hi-hat here. So I put it in maximum to hear what I'm doing. That's what I want to do. Okay.
Cool.
But then it can be also like it can be too much sometimes. So I just back it up here. So it's not straight. It's just moving here.
Right.
And it's not too much like where I'm going, So.
Oh, yo, I Make Beats is in here. Hey, man.
Cool. Let us know on which DAW and what is your favorite plugin.
Yeah. Let us know your favorite plugin, favorite DAW in the chat there. We're using Ableton, mainly on Ableton. I use Reaper as well, sometimes depending on what situation I'm in. And then, I get to FL Studio when I can, but usually it's just Ableton and Reaper on my end.
Cool. So, I mean, okay.
Why don't we run it through the mastering plugin and see what we get? And then I think like doing that mid-mix always gives a bit of perspective on where things should go.
Maybe the last one thing.
Oh, yeah?
And then I can, what usually I do is like I also add compression to the snare to glue together. And I add the soft clip here.
And that's your snare bus, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So again, play out with my attack. 10 milliseconds start to, cut the transient, but it can shape the transient as well.
Mm-hmm.
So more control, but doesn't lose the punch. That's what I'm looking for.
Nice.
And this is also going to help from the mastering stage here. So yes, let's go. Let's try to LANDR mastering. Okay, and then I'm gonna play the loudest part.
Turn it down just in case it blows up a sec.
Optimizing your master. And really a game changer, this plugin. And yes, again. So yeah, I might be a bit biased, but yeah, this plugin is a game changer. Honestly, like so much time I want to, do an alternative mix because I'm doing content or I'm doing, depending, the output channel I want to put it like Spotify or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes I want to redo the arrangement, but I don't want to redo the mastering. And my master, like this plugin on my master channel, like I can do so many different edits, and then it's still the same master. So that's really a game changer.
We've got Deadman, Klanghelm, SDRR Saturator, Tokyo Dawn Labs, TDR Nova, and Molotok. Ableton's default delay effect. Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't tried the SDRR Saturator, but the rest are really nice. But yeah, thanks for sharing. I'll have to check those out.
Cool. So let's see that. Listen to all parts here, and I'm gonna game match here. See what it does.
That bass sounds so sick. It's really exciting. The highs the mastering plugin has, really nice.
So yeah.
Would you bring that bass down?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really important to check your mix through a mastering plugin or a limiter or anything like this, because you realize. And again, I was not mixing this part yet. but you realize like, you can feel that the bass is a bit loud and pushing the limiter a bit too much. But honestly, like, I think I will put this into limiter, it will distort. So the mastering plugin doing really a good job that is still clean, like,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It gives you that perspective, and then you can check it, turn it off, turn it back on, see if it's a bit better. But yeah, like that. I love that bass sound though. Which sound is that?
This is Analog Lab.
This
Dark
is the
Roller.
dark roller.
preset.
And you didn't do anything to it. You just kind of cranked the
Yeah,
cutoff a little bit.
I just automate the brightness here.
Right. That's sick.
And that's it. No,
Nice.
that's it. Yeah, sometimes you don't need to do much, like, to. So yeah. So this part is definitely there is a lot of, I can feel there is a lot of frequency masking here. So again, like,
How can you tell? Like, just, I guess, what are you hearing?
because it's not there is, I cannot hear all the instrument.
Okay.
And I know some of them supposed to be subtle, but I think, and this is more, I think it's more a composition mistake here than like.
Yeah,
It's a lot that they are in the same. Some of them are the same frequency range. So
Right, and you're just layering too much. You think? Yeah.
So usually, like the org.
I think what I would do in this case is like the choir thing. You can kind of take out some of the high mids because their fundamental is more kind of like right in the mid or below that, and then the organ seems to have that brightness that shines through, right? So you could do the complementary moves there. That's what I would do. I don't know what you would think.
Yeah, definitely. I think that first of all is to play with level, and also I think the sample is nice. But I will compress a bit the spike here and there, and then also what I will do it right, and after I go back to EQing the vocal. But in the second part, that I want to be there, but that becomes secondary. So what I can do is on sample here, I'm just going to highlight this part. Actually, I want to gain here. I want the gain, and just lower by 3. So I got the rules here. Like, usually at the moment you lower by 1 dB, or you don't hear 1 dB, or nobody. If you hear it, good for you. But but like a dB difference, and I know it's not linear scale, but like usually I go by the rule of minus 3 dB, like and okay, cool, minus 3 dB you can hear. Like, you want to lower down, okay, put it on minus 3. If you feel it's too much, put it back on minus 2. But I usually do these rules here because sometimes you're like, oh, I just moved by 1 dB and it's way better. Maybe it's better, but maybe also you trick your brain here and by like just changing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I will do that here. So it's marking the background, because this, if you listen to this, only the instruments, it's pretty clear. The organ is a little bit in the middle of everything, but
that's so sick though.
Yeah.
There's a good question from Deadman. What's your track's peak level at the end of mixing usually? That's a good question. I guess like with the mastering plugin, it's going to auto adjust going into it. So as long as you're not clipping that master bus, it's usually you're safe. Like, but you still want enough information going in. So like anywhere between, I think, peaking at minus 12 to minus 1 is fine.
Yeah, and it's actually like to give like
everyone says minus 6.
Yeah, minus 6. But
minus
at
3,
the end
whatever.
of the day, like you can peak at minus 6 and have your RMS super low. Then you still have gonna be issue because you have too much dynamic that is going to eat the limiter at the end of the chain. So you need to compress a bit more.
Right,
you know
right,
what
right.
I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, the goal is to get like your RMS close enough to your peak level, not too much because it's gonna be sound squatch, but and still keep it the punch. That's what how I see like metering here. But again, like the thing is like, yes, some plugins are going to react differently depending of the input level.
Right.
So that's something to consider for sure. But at the end of the day, if you want, you can clip in your channel as long as you don't clip when you export.
Yeah, yeah.
Because DAW is 32 bits, so like you don't lose information. The only thing is like the input of your plugin are going to be hot. So your plugin that emulate analog stuff is going to react differently and probably clip inside the plugin.
Right.
But honestly, like yeah, this clipping rule sometimes like, you know, yeah, I can clip in the channel for sure. It's not good gain staging, but you know, it's not, you don't losing information if you clip in your channel.
Yeah, because a lot of plugins have input knobs anyways.
Yeah.
So you just turn it down. Yeah, it's like you find a good starting point and then you just kind of mix into that
and then the mastering plugin does that, like, you know, because yes, the mastering need like a certain amount of input, a good, like, you know, so the processing happening, you know, in a good optimized way. But yeah, it's gonna to adjust. So see, like it was -7 here and it was white, so probably too low, I believe. So yeah. There's
a good question here. Side asked, how do you mix hi-hats? What do you add to it, or do you just let it be? That's a good question. Like, what would you do to your hi-hats?
Okay, so I can tell you.
We didn't break that down. That's a good question.
Yeah, I can go by instrument, but I can. So hi-hat, as I say, like little panning to give movement. I like that. Of course, removing low-head information. Definitely. Okay, we're gonna solo the hi-hat. It's gonna help. A little reverb here, but sometimes, you know, it's just to not get it dry. You know, it's
right.
And even that I find right now, yeah, if I solo it. But again, reverb is always like listen it in context and not solo it. And then the last thing I do usually, it's I mean, not usually, but sometimes, is actually put a limit on it. Because for what? I want to, again, this is super spiky hi-hat, and you want to, you know, not being too spiky for the limiter having trouble. So you want to sounds like that is, you want to hear it, but you want to be too you know, transient bass. So usually I love this Max for Live is a color limiter, and maybe it's not gonna sound good on this, but let's try. And it's basically a limiter that adds color. So you can add also a compressor. You can add, like, you know, with high ratio, but you just time to try to tame the peak here. So let's try. So I usually don't want loudness out of it. I just want to remove it. Not too much. I want the release to be fast. Just gonna loop it. Fast look ahead maybe. And I can add saturation and color I like.
So is that like a free Max for Live?
Yeah.
Plugin? Oh, cool. So you have more control over the peaks of the hi-hat, and then you can turn it up a bit. Is that what you like to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I can add. So I remove like too much right now on this hi-hat, I believe, and there is one, but let's listen in the mix.
Okay.
And you know, I will probably, you know, maybe I could do that. Group this part of it and put it there instead.
Right. Yeah, if you have lots of sounds that are...
sure you bring back, like right now it's too much because there is, I'm gonna up.
Nice.
And of course you can add like saturation as well. Again, I'm more demoing what I'm doing. I'm not saying that I will do that. But saturation also can help you to phase out the transient. You don't need to put all wet all the time. Yeah.
Nice. Why don't you hear the whole track again and
And
yeah.
Then, sorry, I cut you.
All right, then we'll get some closing thoughts and like you know, I think we just broke the tip of the iceberg today, like mixing such a broad topic, and I think we can get more into it. But yeah, let us know if you have any questions, and yeah, let's check out the whole track. Nice. So what needs to be done? Like I guess in your opinion, like
yeah, I think I will need to spend some time on this block here instruments.
Yeah.
Then I will. This is corrective stuff. Like right now, I think there is a corrective phase to do. Just to be a bit cleaner, like make my decision where each instrument going in terms of like low high, but as well as left right and as well as depth.
Right.
Don't forget that it's 3D mixing. So yeah, so you play left right panning, low and high is gonna be frequency. I mean, yeah,
like the level
and yeah, and the level. And then the depth is gonna be also, you can use frequency to do that, but you can use compressor, you can use reverb, chorus.
Right.
So you got those 3 dimension. Then you need to play with, and yeah. So I will do that corrective. Just put the like the family picture, and then after I will enhance it, like So I will go and try to add saturation to the group. Or I didn't have time, but OTT, like it's a great plugin to add like a 10%, multi-band compressor. And then I will also add what I do is like I do a roton track here, and I'm EQing the low and the high, and putting a compressor and over compress. So I do parallel compression, and then sending a group into this roton channel. I didn't demo that, but it's really effective to bring, thickness to the track.
Right.
And then I would run again the mastering plugin.
Yeah. Nice. There you have it. I mean, we didn't get to my track, but I think we got like that was really good to just get through this track specifically, and kind of get an idea of how you would start it. But yeah, like mixing on the go is fine, and you just kind of hack away at it until, you know, smaller and smaller decisions until you get to the end.
Yeah.
And get it sounding great. But yeah, if you have any more questions, leave it in the chat or leave a comment on this video or in the community channel on LANDR, or on the community channels on YouTube. I put a poll there to ask our subscribers what kind of live streams they'd like to see, and mixing was one of the top ones. So thanks for tuning into this, and I think we're going to do more of these, just to show different perspectives on different genres of music and how to get the best type of mix going. So yeah.
Yeah, and again, like there is no one rules. Trust your ear. Reference your track, to other mixes and master. And again, it's so genre dependent. And too bad that we didn't see your track today, but like, probably like it's a different mindset when you go into more electronic, type of track.
Yeah.
To mix, and you're always learning yourself. And again, what I'm saying today is it's one way to go, and sometimes, because, by doing it, I find that I kind of sometimes like, find the same recipes that doing the song, but sometimes like also I fall in the trap to doing the same recipes and I don't take the time to listen what I'm doing.
Right.
So always the time, like you can apply the same recipes, but sometimes, some plugin, as an example, like, the pedal plugin here, usually I say, oh, I love to add the sub, but this time I didn't need the sub because the 808 was enough, too much subby already, like, so I take a step back. I say, no, I don't like it. On, off, mute it, listen, always question yourself, and yeah, experiment as well, because sometimes you can have happy accident and say, oh my god, I didn't know this plugin. And sometimes plugins you can just add it and don't do anything with it, and it just add this what you want, like this saturation or is that character. So so yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate all of the stuff in the chat. That was awesome questions, and yeah, we'll see you next time, and yeah, have a good rest of your week.
Thanks everyone.
See you.